Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. As is usual, if we could stand and do the pledge allegiance to the flag. Mr. Adebato, could you lead us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, this is regularly scheduled meeting of the Saugus Planning Board. My name is Peter Rossetti, I'm Chair, with Laurie Schaefer, Dottie Poppy, and our associate member, Bill Adebato. In addition to that, we have our consulting engineer, Jim Sotiros, and our clerk, Nancy Stead. We have a very light agenda this evening, which is a good thing. First on the agenda is the approval of minutes. The approval of minutes, board members should have them, and I believe Nancy has one minor correction. Everyone have a chance to look at the minutes? Any suggestions, thoughts? Anyone care to offer a motion to accept?
I will make that motion,
Okay,
subject to the minor edit.
okay, great. And that was seconded by,
I will second the motion.
excellent, thank you. Okay, we have a motion before us, made and seconded. Any further discussion? Noting none. All those in favor of acceptance of the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, minutes are
Sure you wanna-
accepted.
Joe, you wanna,
Yeah. Oh, that's okay.
you wanna say aye?
You can join in, what the hell. Okay, chairman's update will be combined with the consulting engineers, and prior to that, no new submissions or subdivision plans at this point? Nancy? No? Okay. Okay, Jim, you're up.
Well, we'll start out with Ken's Car Care. That was a new car center that was built down in Ballard Street.
Yep.
And they have a temporary permit right now because they still haven't put the final coat on, a finished coat. And last year, their engineers stated to the board that they would do it this year. So it hasn't been done yet, and I just like, we want to make sure that it's done during the construction season. So perhaps maybe we could send a letter to the owner and ask him when it's going to be, when he plans on doing that.
We're starting to approach the end of that construction
just,
season
yeah.
for that, aren't we?
Okay. And then there's a couple other small site plans that were approved by the planning board that are down at the far end of town, down near Melrose. And one of them is at 17 Ospey Road. It's a landscaper's yard. It was a small site plan that was approved by the planning board a year or so ago. There hasn't been any work down there, and talking to the fella there, he said they didn't think they were going to do anything this year.
Okay.
And right adjacent to that, there was also another small site plan that the planning board approved on 21 Swan Road, which was it was a fence company, and they had a building there that's on the far, that abuts the Lowe's property. He did take down the building, but he still hasn't done any other work there, so that don't look like they're doing much there. 173 Main Street, the planning board just approved for that car dealership. The building permit was approved, and I see some construction equipment there on the site, so it looks like they're going to start doing something there. The YMCA, they've got the foundation, they're working on the foundation.
That foundation, they've been working on it for weeks,
Yeah.
but, yeah, it might be done soon,
Yeah.
I suppose.
The other three subdivisions, the major, not counting Winter Street because they're on the agenda tonight, but Bellevue and Vinegar Hills and Twin Springs, there's not much going on there other than housing. In fact, Bellevue, I haven't seen the developer there in months. So. And then you do have a correspondence about Walmart. It brings the planning board up to date what they're doing there. And on the pumping station, Joe, that they note that the force main is in. They put the force main in, and they get some of the wet wells in. And the DPW did have they have a consultant engineer that's overseeing that, Weston and Sampson. So he was down, and we were down there last week, making sure everything was in accordance with the specs.
I'll take a ride by myself
Yeah.
if I get a chance tomorrow.
And the final thing I have, Mr. Chair, I just looked it over briefly, because Nancy just passed it out, from the Development Committee, and there's some things there that make reference to the planning board. And I was just looking it over quickly, and perhaps, you can look it over, and perhaps at a future meeting down the road, the planning board ought to put that on the agenda so they can discuss what responsibilities the planning board has there.
Well, this was brought up by Mr. Luongo, who's the economic development person in town. It pertains to the historic mill district overlay. He had asked if he could give us this to look at, and then at our next meeting, which would be at the first meeting in October, he would like to come in and give us a synopsis of it. Okay? It does raise a concern because it does make the planning board, instead of the Board of Selectmen, the one who's responsible for.
There was one thing there I was looking at, is that the planning board may adopt regulations. Things like that. That ought to be clarified.
It is a concern.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
Funny, there's extra chairs there for anyone who needs them. Okay. Anything else, Jim?
That's it.
Okay. Any board members who want to bring up anything for our engineer? Okay, just a couple of updates for the meeting. I have been speaking with Attorney Magnum concerning the charter school. He expects to come in for some discussions on that at our next meeting. Just for clarification, we will not be having a meeting on the 19th or the 17th. The next 2 weeks from tonight, we will not have a meeting. We don't have anything on the agenda, and I suspect we might have an issue with a quorum for that meeting. So, no meeting 2 weeks from tonight. The next meeting will be October 5th. And at the October 5th meeting, we should have an update on the charter school. We may or may not know anything about what's going on with the ironworks. If they're coming before us or not, they're going to conservation first, and then we'll find out what happens after that. And let's see, Bob Luongo will be coming in to speak to us about the historic mill. And I believe that's it. The Ballard Street condominium, they may be in there trying to figure out what they're supposed to do. We gave them a list of conditions, and they're trying to see what they can accomplish.
Those dates are the no meeting on the 19th.
I'm sorry?
I said the Thursdays are the 19th and October 3rd.
Okay, so it will be no meeting on the 19th, and October 3rd will be our next scheduled meeting. Okay? Okay, on the agenda tonight, we just have two informal discussions. And, oh, good, okay, you're already taken care of signing. The only one we don't have is Dennis, and if he shows, fine. If not, we'll have to ask him to stop by the office at some point. Okay, excuse me. As I said, we have two informal discussions. First one is Rivercrest. Mr. Burke? Okay. Come on up. Okay, couple of issues that we have. One issue is the light poles, and my understanding is you're on the agenda or on the list with is it the phone company or is it
Verizon.
Okay, so you're on the list.
We've filed with them, we've sent them checks, they haven't cashed them, they haven't returned calls.
Sounds like that.
So we don't know what's going on. I mean, the check's been in for over 2 months, and we've been dealing with National Grid. National Grid, by the time you finally, get through to National Grid, it's 6 months, and then they say, okay, well, now they approved everything, now you gotta file with Verizon to move the pole.
Okay.
So we're waiting for Verizon to file with the town to move the pole. And without the pole being moved, we cannot get electricity to put the streetlights in.
Okay. Okay, so you're waiting for Verizon. Okay, and You filed with Verizon approximately
It's been over 2 months.
2 months.
You know, we've sent a check into them, and my mother's called, and they haven't even cashed a check. So whether it's in limbo or whatever, I make calls, nobody calls me back.
Okay.
We don't know what's going on.
Okay, and Verizon has to go to the Board of Selectmen first, so that'll be at least a couple of weeks before,
Right.
once it's advertised, before they'll appear there, and then it'll be a couple of weeks after that.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we're looking at October, November?
yeah.
Okay. Okay, one of the other concerns that was raised was just security of the site. I noticed you put up a barrel and you have construction tape. I mean, we can't ask you to put up Jersey barriers or something,
Yeah,
but,
well, what we could do is put a couple poles and maybe put a chain across there. Would that be dangerous or not?
okay. Jim, I don't know, what do you,
A chain link, yeah. Well, he could put a chain would be there, would be
Okay.
better than what you have there now. And maybe, you know, you could leave it, you could unhook it if somebody wanted to get down there.
okay.
How about any horses or things like that? Would that?
Oh, yeah, we could do that. Some sawhorses,
Yeah.
sawhorses
Yeah.
with what? Caution tape, chain, or, I
And
mean, should we
chain,
want to put
yeah.
chain that's, if somebody didn't see it, they're gonna drive through it? Do you know what I mean?
Well,
Maybe put some flags on it or something?
Right, we could put some caution tape across it, you know?
You know, something to make it a little more secure. The concern, there's two concerns. One is that someone, without realizing it, is gonna go driving down
Right,
there.
right, yep.
And the other is that someone's going to intentionally go down there so they can be out of sight and do something maybe they shouldn't be doing. So those are two issues. There's a third issue. Apparently, when you first came to the planning board, you had brought in 3 lots, and then at a later time, there was a 4th lot that was introduced. So the fee to the planning board was supposed to be $1,000 per lot, and you did pay $3,000.
Okay.
But with the
Yeah,
4th lot,
right, because that other lot was an A and R.
Okay, so there,
The first lot was an A and R.
I think so, it was before my time on
Right,
the
right,
board.
it was an A and R.
You're saying that's not part of the subdivision?
Well,
We got a plan here when the engineer brought it in. It shows it as part of the subdivision because they have access from the street, you know, not Winter Street.
yeah, yeah.
So,
I mean, we had it approved as an A and R, the first lot. And then I think it did change. I think we shifted the road over.
well, the question is it part of the subdivision? Let me show you the plan. Why don't you come up here, the plan, so the chairman can see it. Here's the plan showing the 4 lots. Originally, it came in this way.
Right, originally, right,
Yeah.
and we shifted the road over,
Yeah.
right?
But then when he came in on this date here, you know,
Okay,
it shows 4 lots with access off of the street, off of the new road. So,
okay. So, I think you're on the hook for that.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Now, the other reason that you're here is, my understanding is you're looking to have a lot released.
Right,
Okay.
I
And
don't want to leave these here.
my understanding is that to do that, that'll free up some capital for you so that then you can go ahead and develop the project.
Correct.
Is that correct?
correct.
Okay. I had spoken to Rick Salvo. He was going to give us an idea of what the costs would be. He gave it to you?
I have an estimate
Okay.
of what I've paid Menino
Yep.
and what's due
Okay.
to finish completion.
Okay.
Which is about $32,000 to finish the curving, the final coat and sidewalks. So it's about $32,000. So whether we take a bond to get at least 1 lot released, so maybe we can get things rolling, you know, get the place all cleaned up, and in the meantime, hopefully Verizon it's gonna do something for us.
Okay. Okay,
Is that $32,000 from the engineer?
well,
What do you mean from the engineer?
Is that an estimate that you want to put the bond up? Bond in that
That's an
amount?
estimate from Menino,
okay, pass it on.
that the price of the road was $259,000, and what we paid him, we've only got $32,000 left. to
But that's
complete.
not, is that to complete the subdivision?
Correct. Which is only curbs.
Well, there's bounds, there's as-built plans, there's sidewalks.
Yep, that's in there, sidewalks,
Yeah.
curbing.
I'd like to see an estimate from the engineer outlining what remains to be completed and the costs.
Well, Menino has it on there.
No, I like it from an engineer, from a registered engineer.
Well, why from an engineer?
Because
If that's what I'm
been the
paying,
policy.
but that's what I'm paying Menino.
That's usually been the policy of the board. They've always had an estimate from an engineer outlining what has been completed and what has to be done, and he puts a price on it.
Okay, well, Rick can check that over and see whether he agrees with it.
Yeah, because there's items that aren't there, like the bound's gotta be set, there's a
Yeah.
cost there.
Yeah.
You have to have as-built plans, there's a cost there.
Mhm.
And, that's why I like it from the
Okay.
engineer.
Okay.
This is coming around to you, Jim. It's estimating approximately $30,000. You're suggesting that it should be a bigger number?
No, I'm not suggesting it should be a bigger number, I just like it to come from an engineer, because he is, he's the one who's gonna certify that everything is done in accordance with the subdivision plan.
So if I got an estimate from Marty and Dwyer
No.
to set the bounds and an as-built,
Yeah, I like the estimate from Rick, your engineer, because he's a registered professional engineer. Artie and Dwyer can give you the estimate for the bounds,
Mhm.
but, because he's a surveyor, you know.
Right.
I like it from a registered professional engineer.
Okay.
Okay, when I spoke to Rick, I had asked him if he would give us the estimate.
Right,
So-
right. He called me probably like an hour ago and told me to bring that with me. And
Okay, okay. If you could have it submitted from him,
Mhm.
okay?
Okay.
And if he could include the cost that Jim suggested, okay?
He will look at it, he will say what has to be done, and he'll put a cost to it,
Okay,
okay?
okay.
He'll give us a line item, give the board a line item.
All right, that'd be good. Okay,
Well, is it like this list of the,
Yeah, it could be right, but I like it from the
Okay.
engineer, you know, I'm not saying this is, I like it from that's what the board is.
right, but the items listed and stuff is what you're looking for?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
okay. Other
And they've
board
done,
members?
excuse me, they've done that with other,
Okay.
other bonds, it's not,
So we're clear, we want another $1,000 for that fourth lot?
Yeah, what I was gonna suggest, and, this is subject to the rest of the board, obviously, what we need from you, $1,000 for the fee, okay? Some kind of barrier,
Yeah.
okay? In addition to that, we'd want a bond for whatever the amount they're
Okay.
suggesting. At which point, the board would consider releasing a lot to you, okay? And obviously, we're gonna open this to the public in a second. That would have to be done at a public meeting, which would be our next public meeting, okay? At that point in time, assuming all those things happen, then we can consider that, or that's what I'm suggesting we consider. Okay?
could I just bring out one thing? While you're considering that, I'd like the board, if you would look at the order of conditions
Yep,
regarding, particularly regarding releasing lots, if you look at the order of conditions and look at number 5, 6, 18, 20, 18 and 20, in the order of conditions.
I believe we have those, they were handed out to
So
us.
if you do, it looks like you'll have to sort of waive them. That's a thing for the board to consider anyway.
Okay? Okay. That looks okay. 18, 20. Okay, the conditions that he's referring to, the water system being tested and having adequate water supply by the fire department
In Public Works.
in Public Works, and a record of the testing be provided to us, that the base coat, of bituminous concrete, rough sidewalks, streetlights, operation and utilities be installed in accordance with the plan. Location and elevation of roadways and underground utilities be approved, so certified. So we need certified location on the utilities and fire flows from the hydrants, lighting, and protection from construction areas and safe for vehicle traffic. Okay? So, on those things, can you do some of those prior to next meeting, do you think?
Yeah, I think the water has been tested,
Okay.
because the water is on, so I'm assuming it's been tested,
I
and
hope so.
Menino's, done all that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like number 25 looked at.
All issues. Let's see if I can remember. I'm not familiar with that. Jim, do you know what that is, 25?
That was, that was some recommendations that Camp Dresden and McGee made. It came from the DPW.
Okay,
And the planning board put that condition in there to make, it was agreed that they would do that, and we just want certification that that's been done.
okay. Okay,
How the planning board would like certification.
okay. Joe, are you familiar with what those might be?
Yeah,
Could you tell us
well,
what?
that goes back to, I guess at the beginning when they tapped into the trunk line, the main sewer trunk line. And I wanted some backup from CDM on the process, the backfill it and so forth, the depth, and make sure it was installed right, because it's coming in from a main trunk line that carried the town. All right, and if there was ever a flood or a backup in that trunk line, it would go theoretically in some of these homes here. So I want to make sure CDM is aware of this and give it their blessing.
Okay. So,
Well, CDM approved the plan
Yeah.
for the sewer.
Jim?
That has been approved. I
Yeah,
mean,
the CDM outlined what Joe was saying, and they agreed to do it at that time. The engineer agreed to do it. We just want
Certification.
certification, whether you want it now or when the final as-built is done, that's up to you. But we want, that's what that was in for. We want a certification that everything was done in accordance with their recommendations.
Okay. Okay. So, board members, how do you feel? Should we do that as a requirement now or as part of the as-built?
Perhaps it's, if you're looking for a partial, like a partial as-built now, probably it's already been done, and they can certify that it has been done. Usually, when somebody does come in, he may come in with a partial as-built.
Okay.
He could certify that it has been done.
Do you know if it's been done?
I know they've worked on it.
So it's either done or not at this point?
No, well, he has to, the engineer has to, I know they've been working on it, and he'll certify that it's done in accordance with the plan.
Right.
well, Rick can sign off.
This is
on
gonna
that,
be
whether-
certified by
Right.
Rick Salvo or
Their
by
engineer does.
CDM?
That's-
Right.
Yeah.
But at this time, do you expect it to have been completed?
I think it's completed, whether it's in accordance with the plan, I don't, I'm not, their engineer has to certify that. Exactly like they have to certify, he has to certify like everything else is in accordance with the plan.
So that sounds like something that should be on the list of things prior to release.
Sure.
If it's either done or not done at this point.
Okay. All right. So one of the things that we'll do is we'll talk to Rich and we'll ask him to come up with the responses to these, at least these 5 points. and see where it stands.
Okay.
Okay. Board members, other questions, comments? I know there's members of the public who want to speak. Okay, Jim?
Yeah, I was just gonna talk about the bond, but that's been settled. You're gonna put up a bond and you're not gonna hold a lot, right?
Right.
Okay, and
Now, as far as getting lot release for all of them, what do I need? Streetlights?
That's up to you.
Yeah. Well, yes, you are gonna need you're gonna need to comply with the conditions to get lot releases on all of them. If we give you a partial, or give you a release for one lot, okay, you have to understand that you will have to meet the conditions and you will have to get the building inspector to give you a final occupancy before you can do anything.
Right, yep.
Okay? So, what we're doing is allowing you some potentially working capital to go ahead and start the project, but before you're done, you gotta meet all of these. Okay?
Okay.
Now, as I said, I'm sure there's members of the public who wanna speak on this, so.
The only thing, if you want, is that if they're only gonna release one lot, they could hold, the planning board could hold a lot instead of putting up a bond if you wanted.
We could do that. Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
To
You
be
just have
honest,
to
I think that
designate
would.
which lot it's gonna
Okay.
be, and then make sure that's recorded in the registry.
Okay.
Okay.
They could do that.
Okay.
That'll save you the bond until the
Right.
time comes when you want it.
My preference would be a bond instead
Right, a
of
bond
holding
is,
the lot.
I mean, I've checked into it, it's only like $500,
Yeah, well.
you know, so.
Yeah.
Do I want to tie up a lot for $500,
Yeah,
you know?
I think you're better off doing the bond yourself.
I know, but it's an option, it's an option.
Okay, board members, questions, comments? No? Okay.
No. I'm all
Dottie?
set.
No? Okay, public? Paul, I assume you want to say something?
Good evening, Paul Allen, 80 Winter Street, direct abutter. One of the conditions that I'd actually like to see put on it is, when we went through the Conservation Board, because I have water buildup in my backyard, which has been there for 2 years now, and it's going to be there until they do the swale and grade towards it, so I would actually prefer that that be part of it, because I've already been going with the excess water for 2 years. And then I'd also want to take consideration of the berm, because the berm is not a berm anymore.
Yeah. You want that swale put in right now?
Yeah, because I don't want to wait another 2 years. I mean, I've already waited 2 years, I think that's
They went
enough.
through the Conservation Commission is the one who approved that swale.
Okay.
The
Okay.
planning board could,
What's involved with putting the swale in?
I think they were gonna wait until the house was complete and the driveway was in, and then they were gonna put the swale in part.
Well, it was supposed to-
Is that the way it went?
It was supposed to be between my property line and Lot 1, and the swale would actually, they would redirect the water that was going into the little gully that they created, the horseshoe, and they'd redirect that, and it would bring it to the swale, and then it would run straight down towards the river.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Burke, you hearing what he's saying?
Oh, yeah, there's no
Okay.
problem, we could do that. We could do that.
Okay, so
I like that.
But
that's not a problem for you to do as part of the condition for release?
Nope.
And could I have a, I mean, is there going to be, and the only reason why, Bill, now is because when I first agreed to that, I thought we were looking at maybe 6 months to a year. I didn't know we were looking at 2+ years. I mean, so that, there's a lot of different situations. And then the other situation that I wanted to bring up is that when I hired my own structural engineer,
Yeah.
he looked at the foundation cracking that I had and some other crackings that I had and told me to hold off until the clay settled. Wait a year for that, but then also wait until the sidewalks were actually done
Yeah.
because of the vibrations, that they're going to start again. So that's the reason why I want to get going, because I have cracks in my foundation that's already gone through 2 winters. I don't want them to continue going through winters.
Okay. Do you, any feel for what are we talking in terms of dollars and cents on this? Yeah.
May I speak?
Round numbers?
Just introduce yourself.
Yes. Hi, I'm Paul's wife, Karen Allen. Nice to meet you. I guess I'm going to approach this in more of a try to keep myself composed, because we have been extremely patient. We have been wonderful, direct abutters. We'd like to see the books. go ahead and proceed and finally correct and have a nice development there, because we have been working on our house for 4 years and we have an unsightly mess, and we have continued to let it go and let it go. All of my ceilings are cracked. The Borks are aware of it. They acknowledged it. Which we redid our house, spent a lot of money, time, needless to say, any additional. Our foundation has been cracked. We went ahead and hired an engineer because we were concerned about the issue. We also had all of the land out back surveyed on our own dime, engineer and surveyor, because we suddenly developed water in our backyard. It hasn't permeated to the basement yet, but it's still disconcerting nonetheless. Having done this on all of our dime, we're still left in a lurch. Now, I know the Borks would like to move forward. They want this capital, sell a lot to be able to do the improvements, but I'm sorry. They've lost I have no more, really, I don't know when this is gonna finally end. And as I said, I'd like to finally get some things down, clear and concise, what is going to happen. Relative to the Jersey barriers, why can't we put Jersey barriers there? Do you know they're dumping stuff back there?
Okay.
It is now completely pitch black. We have kids hanging out there. I live there, my whole backyard is pitch black, and they're driving down there, hanging out, smoking pot. That's fine, but it's not something that I want my neighborhood. This is my investment. The other thing is they're dumping trash. Now, is this become a dumping ground? And again, we never complained. We did do the follow path. We called the, who is it? The DPW. We informed them of that. It got cleaned up on Saugus's dime, I'm sure. So I want to make sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's, because we've been so patient, and now it's at the end of the road. I don't want to let this lot go and then have us put back on the back burner. We are direct abutters. We're not the neighbor here or the neighbor down there. So, sorry, I'm just going on a rampage, because this has just really been something that, again, I have my husband, we take care of our property, and I have weeds 8 feet high, and I have extremely bad allergies. It's awful. Plus, I've been looking in my backyard at a mess for over 3 years. We've been there for 4 years, so once it's been started to be developed, it was just left. So I really, again, I want to see us proceed, but I want to make sure that I am protected. This is my home, and I have to make sure that my husband and I have the protection, and we're counting on you people to be our support. As I said, the Borks are aware of the damage that's done in our house, and they plan on compensating. I haven't pushed it because I'm wondering, when are they going to start building? I mean, my house rocked when they did the road. It was horrible. I felt like I was in a, earthquake. So please understand, I'm not against movement on this. I want to proceed, but I want to protect my investment. And I want to be respected as a direct abutter, which I don't feel we have been, because we've been too kind. But it's to here. So again, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
We're trying to address your concerns. You heard us discuss the issue of a barrier.
Yes.
And making it more substantial to prevent either people going down there.
Sure.
Who shouldn't be there, or people dumping.
But do you think a sawhorse is going to prevent that?
Possibly a sawhorse with chains. The problem that we run into is the town, if we order something to be done, then the town can become liable.
As far as putting up a Jersey barrier?
Yes. Okay,
But
so
doesn't that the land belong to them, so isn't it their responsibility?
if we order it, then it becomes ours.
Okay, so how can we go around it being on the town's liability, but then have them respect us as being kind neighbors to do the right thing? So does it go back on that they have to do the right thing?
Okay, hold on a second, because I'm sorry, wasn't it a condition from the beginning that they were supposed to put those up? Because one of the other issues, besides them using it for the fireworks and stuff on the 4th of July, but my biggest concern is when the cars do go down there and they start doing their donuts.
Yeah.
there's ledges. If one person goes down there, who's responsible for the serious injuries that's going to take place if the car goes over? Because those, I've already seen a car already move his barrel and drive down there.
Okay. Well,
Mr. Chairman, we did have discussion way back about Jersey barriers. It's not in conditions, but the planning board did have discussions and had thought that they were agreed. Did they send you something, or talk to your engineer that the planning board would like to, if you would agree to put Jersey barriers there? I thought there was some discussion like he says.
Joe?
It's a
I just
condition of-
thought, before any building permit is allowed, this thing's gotta be cleared up.
Yeah?
And we gotta get input from the homeowner here, that it's cleared up on these issues, and then we'll look upon letting the lot go.
The only
I'd like to
thing,
take a vote on that too.
All right, well, we're not taking any votes tonight.
it's not public. The other thing, Peter, is, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, is if the liability problem with the Jersey barriers are there, I mean, there's a telephone pole in the road. I mean, the Jersey barrier would actually take away some liabilities because part of that road, if someone doesn't see that pole and they think there's a road, they can go right into the pole because there's only, I don't know, do you still have a barrel? Because there's not even a barrel there anymore.
In front of
The orange barrel in front of the telephone pole. So, I mean, I don't think you'd even want vehicles to be pulling into that direction because someone's going to take the pole out sooner or later.
Well, again, from a liability standpoint, we don't want this board to order something to be done and then be responsible for it, okay? If we were to say he has to put up Jersey barriers or something else, and someone pulls in off the road and hits the barriers, then we can be held responsible. If it's something that is a barrier, another type, as was suggested, maybe sawhorses with chains or something to that effect, it's not the same degree. If someone ran into that, yes, they could be injured, but it wouldn't be the same as running into a Jersey barrier. So, okay, Mr. Burke, you've heard the discussion. You got any suggestions, ideas, how you can mitigate this?
I mean, as far as blocking off the road, I could put a couple poles and, like I said, put a chain across there. I mean,
Okay. What about some of the other concerns? The swale, you said that doesn't
yeah,
seem
we
to
could
be
do
an
that,
issue?
no problem.
Okay.
The swale will have to work the conservation, make sure, it's,
Yeah, yeah.
we work with them.
Okay. And as far as these other conditions, we can discuss them with your engineer, Mr. Salvo, see how that's going to work? Okay. All right.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. If I may just reiterate, the other issue was item number 25 as far as the sewer.
Yep.
I can't glaze over that and just gloss over it. That is something that if anything ever happens, that we have any type of a detrimental problem with that sewer line, my backyard will be full of poop, in essence. And I'm not willing to take that chance to say, okay, we'll wait and find out what the status is. I'd like to have an answer. If CDM was supposed to do a report on it, give me an answer. Are you in agreement with it, yes or no? It shouldn't be any wishy-washy. I'd like to have an answer to that.
We're going to ask the engineer.
Okay, I just don't
give
want
us
that
a-
to be another condition that it's after the fact.
No.
I want all of these items to be addressed prior to, please. I can't stress this enough, only because, as I said, we're going on 3 years now of stagnancy. And we're the people that are having to follow through with seeing my backyard and my front yard. My front yard is another issue. My front yard is lopping down. It's sloped. You can't walk on it. I'd like to see that leveled off and at least leave me with a nice yard. You're doing this work, so don't leave me in a mess. I want to have it taken care of. Backyard is a mess and front yard is a mess.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, well, the 5 conditions that we will discuss with the engineers are number 5, 6, 18, 20, and 25 from the list. So I will have a discussion with Mr. Salvo, who's the engineer on the project, and we'll come back with a report on what's gonna happen with that, okay?
Mr. Chairman, can I speak as well?
Sure.
Sorry. My name is Louis Ferreira, and I live on 24 Victoria Street, which is the other cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
I have a few issues as well. Definitely security is a big problem there. I've had quite a few arguments with passerbyers, trespassers, some physical, people trespassing on my property in the middle of the night, cutting through the woods to drink. I go back there almost on a weekly basis to pick up empty beer bottles, trash. It's getting pretty bad. A lot of the kids are throwing rocks at our house because they can't go back there and smoke weed or do whatever they're doing back there.
Okay.
So we've now established kind of like a territorial type thing. So it's getting pretty bad. And again, I almost had a window break on my daughter's rear. Her room basically faces the back of the yard where this all is the cul-de-sac. So I'm not sure what we can actually do to prevent that, but obviously sidewalks, once we get those built, will be great. Eliminate the loose stone that's around, that's basically just everywhere. And I've ruined my mower because there are large rocks that I'm mowing over that I'm not seeing. I've already replaced 3 or 4 blades. So it's just an on and ongoing thing.
Sure.
I also have some structural issues. The house is new. I do not know if it's due to settlement. I know that we reinforced the foundations with rebar and crushed stone, so to make it even a more sturdier foundation, but we have cracks all over the house.
Okay.
I don't know how to establish the cause of that. I don't know if it's due to settling or due to the road. The road build-out was quite lengthy, and it was quite like an earthquake. It could be just part of the process of putting in a road of that magnitude in there, but I definitely would like to have someone come by to validate if this is somewhat related to the road construction. The other issue that I have is the lot that we're asking to be released, or the Burks was asking, is it lot, which lot are we talking about here? The one that faces Winter Street? That's actually the frontage?
Okay, the one I'm with that.
Okay.
Okay.
So that lot there is the original lot that had the A&R.
Okay.
And that was not originally part of the other 3-lot development. I have a concern that that lot actually has 3 possible driveways, which I don't know why that could be the case. There's a possible entryway from Winter Street, a possible entryway from Rivercrest, and a possible entryway from Victoria Circle on an easement that I granted Mr. Burke prior to the whole development being spoken about. The reason why I granted that easement to Mr. Burke was, again, he wanted to get the project moving. That lot was somewhat already approved for a single family dwelling. And at the time of me purchasing my land from Mr. Burke, he also had an interested buyer on that particular lot. However, that lot didn't have any frontage,
Okay.
so there was no access. So I granted that easement so that he could move forward with that closing. And because I was really interested, I waited over a year to buy our property, and I wanted to help him out as well by granting him that easement so he can get the whole overall project going. My question is now, usually an easement is granted when there's no other way to access the property. With this lot now having 2 other methods, which would make more sense to access the property versus from Victoria Street, why do we need that easement anymore?
Okay, so this is an easement that you already granted.
Prior to the other lots even
Okay.
being created, prior to the road even being there.
Okay.
So this was all prior. This is the initial lot that was in existence as an approved lot.
Okay. Was there any consideration given for the easement?
As far as,
either monetary reduction in value or?
No, actually, I just did it out of the good of my heart to basically let him go through that sale, which never happened.
Okay.
The buyers backed out for whatever reason, but the easement stayed. So I ended up now with an easement on my land that I don't necessarily need, that they need to sell that land at all. So that's a big concern of mine because I have two little girls. They're constantly playing on our cul-de-sac, and having another entryway on that cul-de-sac is an issue. Now, if there's no other possible access to it, I'm perfectly fine. I definitely don't want to be a showstopper for him from selling it. But I feel like if there is other alternatives to access that lot, which there are off Winter and Rivercrest, why do we need another easement?
Okay. Okay. Mr. Burke, do you want to say anything on that?
I'm just gonna say, whoever buys the lot, I mean, they have the easement. The driveway will be coming off of Rivercrest, so the easement is there. I mean, who knows whether they'll ever do anything with it? That's whoever buys it, that's their option.
Right. I kind of feel, I understand what he's saying. I didn't know where the driveway was going
Part
to.
of the easement is for the utilities too.
Well, the easement, there was already an easement from the town.
They made us move the fire hydrant down on Victoria Street, which cost me 15 grand, and that's why originally we took the easement a little wider there too.
Well, the easement was already there for the town because of the sewer that runs through it. So we granted you an additional amount of space for a driveway. So there's a town easement, and then there's the easement that we granted you for this lot. So
Right, 'cause
the easement will still be there for the road, for the sewer. We're talking about the driveway easement.
How does the easement read?
I don't know, it's never been staked out.
I don't know, I mean, how is it
What's the-
described?
Say again?
How does the easement, how is it described?
Um,
Is it utility easement or right-of-way easement?
It's a right-of-way driveway easement.
Something that lot
Is it recorded in
4
the
can
registry of deeds?
benefit.
It's for a
that
driveway.
easement if they
Is it
want.
recorded?
Okay, one at a time.
I believe it is recorded, yes.
Okay. I looked at some of this at the Registry of Deeds online, and I don't recall seeing the easement, but it's entirely possible it is there. Do you know, has it been recorded?
Oh, it's been recorded.
Yes.
Because it was recorded when he bought.
Yes, when I bought the lot.
Okay. We can certainly look into that. Is that something Nelson did for you?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I just feel like the easement was granted for a purpose that now no longer really exists.
Okay.
Because the road was put in, which I would think that, that would be the proper way to access this property, would be through the new Rivercrest Road. I understand that it exists and may not ever be used, but I'd like to get it removed.
Okay. Well, that may or may not be possible. That's something you're gonna have to discuss with the person who holds the easement.
Okay.
And whether that's Mr. Burke or someone else who's,
Right, and I
buys
don't even
the
know. I
property.
don't even know if this is really an issue because I've never seen blueprints for what the property would look like,
Yeah.
Where the single-family home would be positioned on the property, where the driveway is coming from. I would be satisfied if I could actually see those. It doesn't necessarily mean that they wouldn't be doing it down at some later point, but I'd like to see where the driveway would be coming from.
okay.
So I've
Mr.
never.
Chairman, the plan shows a curb cut on
Roadcrest.
see it there.
Okay.
The plan they submitted shows a curb cut on Rivercrest.
Okay.
Doesn't show any curb cuts on,
Yeah, I didn't,
and if they have to get a curb cut, and maybe Joe, you could, if they have to get a curb cut down there in Victoria, Joe, they have to go to the DPW, don't they? Yeah. The plan showed the access on Rivercrest.
so the plans show access from Rivercrest
Yes.
and the protection that you would have for an easement over Victoria would be that DPW requires a permission before you could have the curb cut there. So you do have that as a backup. and coming off of winter, is it even possible to do it off of winter? The gradient seems to.
You know, that's where they want access from. I think I talked with at one planning board meeting, they discussed that,
Really?
yeah, with the engineer.
Okay. I think that was before my time, but.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I definitely would. I mean, I've always been in favor
Yeah.
of the Borks doing this project. I've always sided on their side. It is a big project, and it is a lot to basically maintain. But I think we have been patient. It has gone quite lengthy. The grass is taller than I am in my backyard. I used to mow that whole piece of property that doesn't have trees on it. I stopped doing that because it was just, too much of my time and gas.
Okay.
So that's it. It definitely needs maintenance. Again, the structural issues, security on the site. I'm not sure if we need to get maybe someone from the police department and take regular trips down there, because it is becoming a hot spot for illegal activity.
Okay. All right. Well, obviously, improving the area and finishing the project is the overall goal, which will cure some of these problems. Depending upon how the driveways, if they're done according to the plans, that should alleviate that issue. And again, getting the project moving, I think, is something that would benefit everyone.
Of course, I
So,
totally
but
agree.
I would also suggest that maybe you talk to Mr. Burke and the two of you discuss things, and maybe you can reach a solution.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to?
Can we understand how this is finally going to be our next step, if I may say? Can we reiterate that so that I can have a clear understanding in my mind?
Okay. The intention is, again, depending upon if we can get all these things worked out with the engineer, we're going to be discussing the 5 conditions that were listed in the order of conditions with the engineer, making sure that these can be complied with substantially before we release anything. There is also the requirement that he would have to pay a fee to the town. There would have to be something done with the barriers at the entranceway, and there would have to be a bond put up, and the bond would be dependent upon what the consulting engineer says it will cost to complete the project. Okay?
And the swale.
I'm sorry?
And the swale.
And the swale, and we
Now-
talked about the swale.
So basically, how this really, if I can kind of frame this up, is Mr. Bork has not proceeded in developing this property over $32,000?
Well, I think it was more than
No,
that.
it's the Verizon.
Yeah.
But you can't do anything
Okay,
with my...
okay, wait a minute.
Months ago.
One at a time.
No, we said that.
Excuse us.
Yeah. Okay. You wanted to continue?
Please.
Okay, briefly, yes.
No, I'm just asking. That
Okay.
$32,000 number was strictly the weighting, is the pole? What about the rest of the sidewalk? What about proceeding in the back with the swale and my water problem? What about the front side? Again, I'm going to now take up the issue where we have all the damage in my house, because now I'm not waiting any longer for the rest of the land to be developed. I want now to complete everything. So
Okay.
my bottom line is
The house
$32,000.
issues, the house issues are between you and Mr.
I
Burke.
understand, I'm just putting that out there so you are all aware of really how good we have been.
Yeah,
Please understand that, I can't reiterate that enough.
yeah. Okay, well, what we will do is, we're attempting to move this forward, okay? We're trying to build in protection for you and the other neighbors, okay? And we're trying to see if we can get Mr. Burke moving on the project, because completing the project is the best solution to eliminating some of the problems.
True. I wanted that, I'd like to have seen that 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
would too.
I
Well,
think,
we're-
Mr. Chairman,
we're
I
working
think,
on it.
I think where my wife's coming from, just to button it up, is that when the road was first originally started to be built, that's when the permit to move the telephone pole probably should have took place, not 2 months ago, because that's almost 2 years after the fact. And then the other issue, just to answer a question, with his concern and my concern with the people partying down there and stuff, we do call the police, but what happens is as soon as they turn down the road, they run right through the woods. And they take off down the river, right along the tributary. So there's no stopping, they see them coming. So we're trying to stop that.
They would still be there.
Yeah, but the other problem that they have, Bill, is that because the sidewalks are all unfinished, I have the same problem he has. They go down there and they take these big rocks and they throw them into our yards.
Yeah.
They're even throwing it against the white fence you put up that's got big holes in it. So they're throwing it in the yard, so every time I go to mow the lawn, I gotta walk around, I gotta pick up rocks and throw them back up where they belong. So those are some of the issues.
Okay.
So,
Ms. Poppy?
condition number 15,
Okay.
looks like it should be on the list.
Final surfaces are to be graded so as not to create any stagnant water or runoff that would create objectionable conditions. Jim?
So we
Well,
should
that will
add-
be done once they really complete the subdivision.
But it sounds like part of this problem is that this is, in effect, whatever surfaces are there now are off of final and for multiple years creating stagnant water and runoff in objectionable conditions.
I think once the curbing and everything is in, then the water will be contained within the roadway and it'll run into the drainage system, even if the final surface isn't.
Because there are 3 other lots that are going to be undeveloped at the moment.
There's no curbing there, the water just sort of runs down and just runs out.
I haven't seen the
The final surface,
Map of
what
this
that
is-
indicates are the final surfaces, they want to make sure that there's no puddling or anything in there once the final surface is
of the road.
of the road, yeah.
So I haven't seen the lot layout for this. I was not around when it came through before. Is the lot that's being asked for release one that abuts the Allens, or
No, it's on the opposite side.
It abuts my property.
It
It
abuts
abuts your
his
property.
yeah.
So it's the back of the lot.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a lot there.
so it's lot 4?
Formal discussion at our next meeting, assuming that the engineer can come to an agreement on these conditions, and that the other parts of the conditions are met, that we can go ahead with the lot release. So that's the tentative goal plan. If some of those conditions can't be met, then it may not happen at the next meeting, it may be carried on to a future meeting. But the idea is to try and move on this if we can, okay? Any questions, comments? Okay, all right, moving on to our next item.
If they put the finished road on now, there's gonna be equipment going down there, and it could be
I'll
damaged.
get a hold of Salvo, and Salvo will have to clear it
They
through
usually do that
CDM.
at the
That's
end.
it.
I wasn't
Okay.
sure whether
Yeah,
final
good.
services
So
meant the
Salvo,
grading.
No,
the
it's
engineer
already
for the
graded.
project will be the one
Yeah.
who
So the grading-
certifies
The
it to
binder
us.
course is
So
in, and that should
he
be
essentially
the finished
puts his
coat, an
credentials
inch and a half
on
or 2 on
Yeah,
top.
but CDM, he's gonna contact CDM,
Allowing
Yeah.
the problem of
because they're the ones
water.
that represent us.
Correct. Okay. Next on the agenda is informal discussion, 31 Main Street Church. Pedro Viero. Mr. Viero, you tell us what you'd like to do.
Yeah, how are you, members of the planning board committee? Good evening to everyone here in the back. So my name is Pedro, and I am a youth leader at the church right next door, 31 Main Street. It's called, changed a lot of names, but now it's called Pilgrims Church of Boston. And what we want to do is that we want to make a half-court basketball court for the youth. We have around maybe active youth around 10 to 15 from middle school, high school. And we want to definitely take advantage of this beautiful backyard we have. This is something that we've been planning to do, but we like to do things right with permits and everything, make sure it's legit. And that's why we come to you. I actually spoke to, I think it's Fred Maroney, I believe his name is.
Fred Marone is the building inspector.
Marone, yep. And he suggested to come to you guys to show the plans and everything. And I have actually, if I can show you an estimate from a local company here in Saugus. We're gonna put like I believe it's 10 feet, 10 feet wire fence. Just to keep the ball away from everyone. And we usually have church on Sunday only between 12 o'clock and 1:30. So we won't, nobody's gonna play at night. We'll make sure we keep it locked up. And again, it's just for the summertime. It's not gonna be, during winter or any crazy schedule at night. All of the, we all live in different areas of the, in Massachusetts, so we're not, something just we want to do and want to bring it up to you guys and see what you guys think.
Okay, I'll open it to the board for questions, but a couple of questions come to mind.
Yeah, sure.
Is it going to be completely enclosed in a fence?
Yes, sir.
And how high is the fence?
10 feet. We can make it any suggestion you guys.
Well, I think that would be up to the building inspector,
Yeah.
fence. What did he say that you wanted from the planning board?
Your approval, because he wasn't sure exactly what we wanted to do, and I just said it's just a half court. It's not a full, just a half court from maybe, to be honest with you, from that side to that side of the room. We're gonna have to put the, I believe it's the asphalt.
Asphalt?
Yeah, that's, in order for to play basketball, you need something hard. And I guess that's what he was concerned about, to, check with you guys, because, and I told him we're gonna surround it. It's gonna be locked up. It's just gonna be us, because, we don't want to keep it open for anybody to just go.
How far from the street on both sides?
Peter, you saw how far was it?
Right up to where the sidewalk is?
Up to the sidewalk is.
Where there's a fence there now, I believe.
Yep.
And it would be taking that down and putting up a 10-foot fence.
Right up against the street?
Yeah.
Against,
Well,
up to the sidewalk.
not to the sidewalk, yeah.
Not the street.
Is it grass now?
It's grass now.
Is there any trees on it? Is there?
No trees. There were just three stumps there. They were cut.
There were trees that were cut down.
Yeah.
Joe?
Peter, before this goes on any further, I think you should get a design, some kind of a plan to show exactly where this is going. I mean, he's talking about a fence, 8 feet, 10 feet. We'd like to see something, in writing or design of the court.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you get someone to do that, and then.
And then-
Does that,
He's just,
I think that describes it
Then
just in writing.
a layout would be
Yeah. I did. That's what I was.
square.
Yeah, I was trying to get that today.
And the question of drainage, when you put that much asphalt down, where's the water?
Yeah, but this is a quote on the court itself. It doesn't show a design,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was trying to get that before the meeting, but I'd be more than happy to get that provided to you guys, fax it to you guys if you wish.
Certainly, and the lot itself is large. So
Yes.
you do have definite space. It's just a question of how much impervious you'd be adding to that area.
Yeah, of the lot, I'll say not even one fourth of it really. Is the rest of the spot, we have a little garden over here, and we want the kids to play around there, so we don't want to take too much space as it is, for that purpose and reason. So
Okay,
Well,
well,
put some restrictions on this, Peter. One that they can use the court.
that's what we're gonna have to tell them.
yeah, whatever you
The
guys.
planning board?
We're gonna suggest restrictions.
Are you considering lighting out there, or is it just for the day?
Just for the day. We don't plan to be here all night.
That's a restriction, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I don't know. I'm not gonna be babysitting here till 9, 10 o'clock at night. No, this is
Because-
just.
And when it's not in use, you said it's gonna be locked.
Yes, it will be locked because we understand that maybe somebody can just get in and just shoot some hoops, but it would just be for our youth.
I understand.
Nothing else.
One of the things that we have to do is make it public to the neighbors.
Absolutely.
So I think what we're gonna have to do is also have this scheduled for the next meeting, which is the October meeting.
Yep.
And have it advertised so that we can we can put it out there to the neighbors and let them know.
Yeah, absolutely. Nope, just want to.
We'd have to have, like Joe suggested, a plan showing it.
Yeah.
If you could come up with a drawing where it would be
Yep,
on the property.
I was actually, when I spoke to the contractor, I wanted a drawing, but he gave me a quote, so I'm like, okay.
He's an asphalt guy.
That's what I figured. I'm okay.
Yeah, they just keep shoveling it.
Exactly.
Well, one of the advantages is at the conclusion of this meeting, if we walk out the front door, we can take a look to the left and
right
see where it is.
Right, but the question becomes, how much do you have to take out
Yeah.
in order to put down the right underlay so that we don't have just a pile of asphalt that's not useful?
Yeah.
Right, you know, you gotta put asphalt, you don't just dump asphalt, you gotta
Yeah.
put it in right, and
Can I?
it's fine, there's a quote to do it, but you wanna see a drawing saying we're putting in enough inches of it.
Yeah.
What are you
It
doing with the
says
dirt
over
that
here.
comes out, that kind
That's
of
just a
question.
paving, that's a
On the
quote
first,
for
I mean,
paving.
I don't know if you answered
Right.
your
Yeah,
question.
I understand.
Yeah.
So, I understand that here, but to see the drawing of it and be able to assess,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You know,
I agree.
where it is
I
and-
agree. No, that's
so
what
that we
I
know-
agree too.
and again, it's a 40 by 40 is maybe not a lot of lot, but that's a lot of water to put
If you get
somewhere.
a heavy rain, like we've had a few times this week,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you get 2 inches of water on top of that, you know, where does it go?
Where does it go?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
does it go to your lawn, is it sloped to put it to your lawn, is it dumping into the sewer system right now? It doesn't, so,
Yeah, no.
just to make sure that we have all those,
Mm-hmm.
so the neighbors don't come back and go, it's in my lawn. So-
Yeah. No, absolutely. Nope,
Okay.
we'll get those answers for you. Okay. I don't know if anybody else wants to see the.
I understand what
Yeah.
you're doing there, and that makes perfect sense. We just need some assurances that we know we're concerned about water,
Absolutely.
and we're concerned about the actual design, and if it falls within those specifications, I don't think we'll have any problem at all. We welcome that.
No, thank you. No, just like I said, you guys say the conditions, and be more than happy to follow them. And anything else you guys suggest will be appreciative as well. Again, this is for the youth, and I'm, planning to get the whole community involved. And,
Okay, I think what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to talk to our clerk Nancy,
Yeah.
and she's looking for the code. Okay. Sorry, we tried to catch you.
6 to 10 inches.
We tried to
gravel
catch you before you
underneath.
left.
Oh, do you want, that's.
No, to tell you the sweater was there.
Yeah,
There.
Okay.
I'm an engineer,
Okay.
but not that kind of engineer.
Yeah.
I'd like,
Okay.
you know, I'd like something that someone who is that kind of engineer can look at and say, yeah, that's sufficient.
do
You
you
know?
guys suggest we should get like an engineer to?
Right.
I don't know if you're gonna need an engineer.
Charlie over there.
Yeah.
An engineer. But you want to, I don't know if there's any setbacks, you know, you talk to the building inspector and ask him how far it should be from the street line, and how far it should be from the abutting property. I mean, he's the code enforcer, he should tell you that. Then you could draw or have your engineer talk to him,
Okay.
and then he could develop the plan,
Okay.
you know?
Okay.
I mean, ask him if it should be so many feet from the abutting property and so many feet from the, street lines of the two roadways,
Yeah.
to Taylor Street and the other.
Yeah, because it ends on by the sidewalk. It doesn't go into
You know,
the.
he might say, well, we gotta be 10 feet away or 5 feet away, you know, and
Yeah.
then your engineer will
That's true.
draw
That's
the
true.
plan like he suggested, in accordance what he you know, what the
Yeah.
bylaw is, or if there is a bylaw,
Oh, okay.
setbacks.
All right.
The great thing about it, he's right down the street. You
Yeah.
can see him any day.
Yeah, absolutely. Who's the engineer here? I'm sorry.
Fred Browning.
Fred Vernon.
Maroney. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
So he can tell me more or less.
He can help you out.
Yeah, because I
You
think
tell him what you have to do.
Yeah, because I think he misunderstood everything I wanted to do. He thought I was gonna do a big old full court and big old. I'm like, no. It's just a half court, something for the youth. But I didn't. And he said, all right, talk to the planning board committee and see how they want to do it. So I said, sure, no problem with me. I'm more than happy to.
Okay, is there anything we left out, any procedural things?
I think if he goes to Fred with
Yeah.
the plan, like he suggested,
Yeah.
then he'll bring it to the planning board.
Yeah. So can you guys give me more or less what you guys would need, and I'll take it to Fred. And,
Okay. What we need is for you to come back get a plot plan.
Okay.
Okay? You can go to town hall and ask for a plan,
Okay.
okay? Make a copy of that, show us on the plan where this is gonna be.
Okay.
Okay, with dimensions.
Okay.
And then also show that to the building inspector, Fred.
Okay.
Okay, and he should be able to tell you, it should be, it's okay where it is, it should be 3 feet back from the sidewalk, it should be 10 feet from the sidewalk, or whatever,
Okay.
okay?
It may be important to include like where the hoop is.
Yeah.
So that the
No, that's
neighbors
a,
know
that's a
what the
good,
intention
that's a
is.
good question too. That's something that we didn't thought about it. We just wanted to do it, but we definitely want to do things right. So appreciate you guys. Thank you for staying up late.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, anything else that anyone wants to bring up at this point? No? Jim, again, nothing we left out, any? Okay, in that case, we'll accept a motion to adjourn.
I will make that motion.
Okay, motion made to
I will
adjourn.
second it.
Made and seconded, okay. Adjournment, non-debatable, all those in favor?
I
Aye?
No.
Okay, we are adjourned. Great.